Were you aware that some of the seniors' nighttime activities may induce prostate having cancer in your 60s, 70s, or 80s and getting up multiple times during the night to feeling pressure in your lower abdomen while urinating, the feeling that something isn't quite, you're not alone down there. As someone who listened to guys for years, I can discuss these matters privately. Tell you that the majority of prostate issues don't start with age, but rather with behaviors. In this video, we'll discuss the 5 specific errors that people make at night. That many elderly people make without realizing the harm that these are producing isn't extreme warnings or wild speculations. They have years' worth of clinical experience, and they clarify why certain males continue to battle an enormous prostate, even if they believe that completing everything correctly, and the most important, these habits frequently seem frustrating. Innocuous as a large glass of water late at night with a meal while ignoring the urge to urinate before bed. Although it doesn't appear significant, these decisions accumulate over time for your prostate. They become irritated and wear out over time. A gland that is already exerting extra effort. Stay with me throughout your older years until the conclusion of this video, as we're not, I'll only list these 5 habits. We will teach you how to gently repair the harm. You may discover the feelings of sleeping through the night, feeling more at ease in your pelvis, and recovering. The first step to regulate yourself is to let go of tonight. Let's focus on just one of these habits. Start by consuming excessive amounts of water. Prior to going to bed, one of the most prevalent routines that silently causes the prostate to become stressed is consuming excessive amounts of water late in the evening. It makes sense that a lot of individuals over 60 are advised to drink plenty of water. Assist their kidneys' digestion and overall wellness, but when the majority of that after supper, people drink water, particularly an hour or 2 prior to bedtime, turns into an issue. Your prostate must take care of more than just your bladder. The prostate tends to expand with age. That enlargement, of course, narrows the urethra, reduces the flow of urine, and makes it now more difficult to completely empty the bladder. Consider adding more water to the system late at night rather than receiving. Your body needs deep, undisturbed rest. Repeatedly waking up to cope with the bladder fills with that excess fluid already communicates with the prostate struggles to collaborate while under pressure. You don't feel this right away. Many might believe that, I'm simply growing older. I will therefore naturally wake up a few times a night. However, what's actually taking place is a cycle. Too many fluids result in greater strain, and increased strain results in more irritation over time due to its poor quality. Prostate symptoms may worsen under stress. Greater urgency and more toilet visits, additional unease. I once had a conversation with Walter, an 82-year-old man, who swore by the consumption of 2 large glasses of water. He claimed it helped him flush before going to bed. Pollutants overnight, but he also informed me that he hadn't slept soundly for more than 10 years. After our conversation, he moved to consuming the most of his water in the morning the day, particularly prior to 6 p.m., and only took a small taste after supper inside. He was only waking up once a week. Evening rather than 4 or 5 times, he stated. I believed I had a prostate issue. I had a timing issue, it turned out. Of course, cutting the water is not necessary. Staying fully hydrated is still crucial. But changing how much water you drink earlier throughout the day to ensure that you're receiving before the evening hours, the majority of it can take a break from your prostate during the time when you're sleeping. It needs it the most. Furthermore, if you're thirsty late at night, go slowly and take a tiny sip rather than a full glass. Pay attention to your health and allow your prostate rest. That may surprise you. How a seemingly insignificant thing alters the way you feel. Number 2, in the morning. Consuming processed or salty foods at night. If you're like a lot of senior citizens, supper could be the largest meal of the day. A small amount of comfort food in the evening, like tinned soup, frozen meal, or perhaps a few deli meat slices, may appear innocuous, but in regards to your prostate, these elevated salt levels, processed foods subtly set the scene. For an extremely unpleasant evening, the issue isn't just the salt, it's the effects of salt on your body. Consuming certain foods makes you retain more fluid. Over time, that fluid eventually attempts to flush out while you're asleep. can cause more urine at night. Increased bladder pressure and indirectly put the prostate under stress, which is already making an effort to stay up, but it's not simply how frequently you wake up, it's regarding how much effort your body must put forth while you should be sleeping when you consume a meal that is high in salt, particularly one that has processed ingredients. The circulatory system and kidneys remain active for a longer period of time during the night, which keeps your body from relaxing completely. Into sound sleep for males who have an enlarged prostate, which indicates that the pelvic region remains tight and enlarged, and you're annoyed by the outcome when you wake up. Heavier, more exhausted, and more irritated than I recall a man named Glenn being the day before. A 76-year-old who arrived with a grievance regarding his frequent midnight urinating, he continued to say, "I don't get it. Avoid drinking water after hours, I've gone before bed." However, when we discussed his case, he was actually eating supper. TV dinners with canned chili and salty snacks, mixing most nights with the belief that they were swift and simple after he made the decision to meals that are lighter and contain more fresh vegetables, reduced salt, and lean protein in his body. He claimed to have calmed down in 3 nights. I was unaware of the level of tension accumulating there. Your prostate interacts with substances other than liquids. To your entire physical condition, and processed foods high in salt alter that condition. They cause blood pressure to rise. Circulation, making it more difficult for the body to efficiently eliminate fluids, which implies more pressure surrounding the bladder, prostate inflammation, among other things. Toilet visits right when you're attempting to fall asleep, rather than retiring to bed laden with preservatives and salt. Try a softer meal. Consider simple steamed veggies, grilled fish or chicken, or perhaps a bowl of warm muesli or brown rice, a substance that makes you feel full but doesn't burden you. If you continue to watch this film and discover these revelations are important, kindly provide the second comment below to inform me of your presence and whether you. I suggest you do if you haven't subscribed yet. Turn on the bell and subscribe so you don't overlook any footage. Your assistance is invaluable. Us keep producing quality information to educate and motivate you, then let's go. The third forward is retaining urine. Numerous elderly guys awaken in the midst of the night, sensing they must leave, yet they choose not to. Perhaps it's because they're very exhausted, or perhaps it's simply simpler to flip over and attempt to fall back to sleep, although most people don't understand that suppressing urination at night can silently squeeze the bladder and the prostate in ways that gradually accumulate. When you fight the urge to go to the toilet, your bladder keeps filling and expanding. At first glance, this would appear innocuous, however, as it causes the walls of the bladder to enlarge. Thinner, less flexible, and more easily agitated, and this is how it impacts you the longer urine remains in the prostate, as pressure increases in the lower urinary tract that is pushed back by pressure about the prostate, particularly if it's already grown throughout time, which may result in decreased urine flow due to increased inflammation as well as an increased risk of infection. It's not a mechanical problem, just a comfort one. A full bladder makes it more difficult to be completely emptied after that. Leaving behind urine produces a setting in which bacteria can develop, causing recurrent irritation. Cravings and, occasionally, discomfort illnesses, as well as for an elderly guy with a prostate that is already sensitive, are the final things you need. Leonard, who was 81, had a habit of waiting for the dawn regardless of what he informed me. I simply don't want to go to bed unless it's really necessary. However, he further mentioned how his lower abdomen frequently felt constricted in the morning and how occasionally, despite urinating, he continued to feel as though he fostered something that was left behind. He should just stand up and leave when the urge occurs, even if it just occurred once or over the course of a few days. He saw less lingering pressure feelings and improved flow in the morning. He stated, "My body was letting me know what it required, I was only disregarding it." Your body has an innate signals for a purpose when they alert you to it's not only about comfort when it comes to releasing. The longer you hold, the better your health will be. The more stress you're under, the more agitated, the greater the tension, and enlarged prostate can turn into one of you don't want to jump up, of course. Every hour, therefore, staying away from excess late-night liquids or salty meals helps, but resist the impulse when it arises. Let your body react gently and ignore it. Your prostate will appreciate you resetting it. Sleeping on your stomach is number 4. Of all the possible sleeping positions, taking a nap on your stomach may seem like the least related to prostate health, but if a man over 60 has a tendency to lie face down when he's sleeping at night, posture might be using a silent, steady pressure at the exact location where your body doesn't need it in the pelvic area. This is what occurs if you sleep on your body weight changes in your stomach. Moving further, this location is inconspicuous but persistent pressure on your lower bladder, abdomen, and the surrounding your prostate may not feel particularly noticeable initially, particularly if you've been doing it for years, but as time goes on, this role can prevent an increase in blood flow, pelvic strain, and hinder appropriate. The lower urinary tract's drainage. Although the prostate is a little gland, it's extremely susceptible to inflammation and congestion, even minor adjustments in pressure, particularly night after night. Nighttime can make things more uncomfortable. Edema and reduced urine production for someone who is already dealing with an expanded prostate resting on the stomach can silently exacerbate symptoms without your presence even understanding why. I once had a conversation with a Harold, a 74-year-old guy, informed me he had noticed a constriction in his lower abdomen that appeared most mornings. He believed it to be digestion, but upon examining his one trait that stuck out was that he always fell asleep with a leg on his stomach, curled aside. Following a change to slumbering sideways with a cushion between weeks later, he complained that his knees were hurting, stating, "I was unaware of how much I held the tension down there until I release it." You don't need to coerce placing yourself in an awkward situation, but trying out new sleeping habits can have a profound impact. Sleeping on your side, particularly on your left side, lessens the strain on your internal organs and enhances blood flow. Some males also discover pelvic area relief by raising their legs a little, or making use of a wedge pillow to lessen pressure on the bladder from below and prostate, a subtle shift, but spend 6 to 8 hours on the most crucial one every evening in that posture, so even a small change can have a tremendous impact over time if you are working at night. Urgency, reduce abdominal pressure, or simply don't wake up feeling refreshed. Take a moment to think about your sleeping habits. Tonight's modification might make your tomorrow, prostate. If you're still viewing this video and discovering these excellent insights, kindly provide the comment number. Tell me you're here by placing 4 below. Additionally, if you haven't signed up yet, I advise you to sign up and activate the bell to ensure that you don't miss any of your support, which enables us to keep producing quality material to educate and motivate you right now. Let's go with number 5, disregarding the need to go to the toilet before bed. It can appear to be a minor matter. You've already gone to bed, cozy, and you say to yourself, "I'll simply leave in the morning." However, for elderly guys, particularly those who are elderly or prostate enlargement, disregarding that last urge to go to the toilet before bed can lead to more difficulty than you may imagine, and here's why. When you have a somewhat full stomach before bed, urine sits in the bladder for hours. Applies constant, mild pressure to the walls of your bladder and indirectly your prostate. Over time that remains pressure transcends its physical form. It turns inflammatory, indicating your body isn't being engaged, and the response from your prostate begins in methods that don't always work. As people age, their prostates already expand. Slightly presses the tube on the urethra. That removes urine by carrying. Urine sitting all night produces the perfect setting for microorganisms that cause discomfort, expansion, and even slight edema, particularly if you don't completely empty your bladder when you go through the remaining volume at last. Turns into a haven for low-level inflammation, and the longer it persists, the more it impacts your everyday comfort. I had a conversation with a 69-year-old once. Peter, a man who claimed to have stayed away from the just out of habit, using the loo before bed. "I never thought I needed to go that far. I simply didn't," he said, but eventually he started to wake up more frequently at night. That it was more difficult to completely empty. Upon waking up, he made it a point to go to the loo each night before bed, regardless of whether he felt the need to, and saw significant changes with less disruption, simpler mornings, as well as what he explained as the problem is that there is less tension down there. Urination is more than just a matter of urgency. About bladder emptying and maintenance prior to bedtime. The system provides your body a break and your prostate an opportunity to relax without feeling pressured from within, steadily increasing overnight, even if the impulse is minimal when you respond to it. Strengthens the rhythm of your body and equilibrium, which some guys find useful. This is a component of their daily brushing practice. Wash your face, brush your teeth, then leave, even if it's just a bit, the amount isn't important. Telling your system that we're completed today. Your prostate will thank you, and good luck with your sleep. Little step, but it can be beneficial over time. Lessen edema and decrease urgency at night and encourage a more tranquil and healthier lower body beat. Pam Fur. Last thoughts. Many men in silence acknowledge their prostate issues as simply an additional aspect of growing older. The pressure that causes nighttime toilet trips won't completely eliminate that sensation of never truly running out of space, but what if not all of that suffering was simply getting older? It was a habit, but what if it changed? At night, a few minor things could give your prostate and body the it has been in need of relief. Therefore, today we looked 5 things that many older men don't have, even considering consuming excessive amounts of water. Lately consuming processed or salty meals, sleeping in postures while holding in pee that put pressure on the pelvic area, and skipping that last bathroom visit. None of these behaviors appear risky, yet they slowly increase the pressure. Drainage and exacerbate a precarious prostate. Activity is more than it should be. Fortunately, your body wants to recuperate, and no miracle is required. Supplement or a drastic way of living overhaul frequently. All you have to do is get rid of the things that caused it pain. The routines that make your evenings more difficult and your mornings are more difficult. Consider providing what your prostate has been requesting: a little more room and relaxation and somewhat less anxiety. Which of these what habits do you believe you have been following? Unaware of it, which one will you try making a change tonight? Post a comment, and tell us about your experience, no matter how minor. Change could result in improved sleep, flow and an improved standard of living. Thank you for coming today, and we'll see you tomorrow. We would be delighted if you could leave a remark below and share something you discovered today and how you intend to apply it. Your thoughts are significant in your life to us, so please share them without hesitation. Reading your feedback provides us with excellent inspiration and support. If you thought this movie was entertaining and useful, please share, like, and subscribe. Support enables us to keep producing quality stuff to educate and motivate you. Many thanks for viewing, and we anticipate I'll see you in the upcoming video.